What's up, guys? I'm back with another movie review. Today I'm talking about one from the film Detective, and this is The Vampire Bat. This is a 1930s horror movie. I think it's pretty fun. It's about a small village that's, being kind of terrorized by a killer, and as if, like, the idea of a murderer on the loose isn't bad enough, there's all these rumors about it being a vampire. And, of course, in these little villages and these kind of movies, paranoia, and superstition run rampant, and that's kind of the case here. But even like the local doctor is like, well, I believe I've heard of some cases of vampirism. So like everybody's really up in arms about it. But luckily the local lawman, he doesn't believe in this kind of stuff. And so he's going to get to the bottom of it. He's sure there's like a, reasonable, rational explanation for it. And that's pretty much the rest of the movie is he's trying to figure out, exactly what's going on and find out, he wants to prove to everybody that, hey, there's no such thing as vampires. And there's certainly not a vampire in our town. And so, is this killer just a normal killer, who's kind of doing some weird things? Or is there like a supernatural force at work here? I like this movie. I think it's really fun. As far as being a horror movie, it's obviously not very scary, especially by modern standards. It was 1933. It doesn't have blood. It doesn't have nudity. But what it does have is some pretty effective atmosphere at times. I really like the visuals. It's a black and white movie. It has just some really creepy, eerie visuals to it. Again, not scary stuff, but just really stylish and very interesting. And I like the way I really like the way a lot of these like classic horror movies look. And this one definitely has a lot of like cool visuals and that like gothic feel. But it's a little bit like more low rent than some of the other ones from this time period. It's definitely not like on par with like Universal's output. But I think it's really fun. I like some of the colorful characters in it. There's an old lady that's like a hypochondriac that has a lot of really cool scenes. And there's a little bit of melodrama, a little bit of romance. Fay Wray and Dwight Frye kind of lead the cast. Dwight Frye doesn't have a lead, but to me he has one of the best performances, and it's fun to watch. Overall, the performances are fine. There is that little bit of melodrama, so it's a little bit camped up, but it's pretty good. They're pretty good performances. Again, it's not really too scary, but I just think it's a fun, like, atmospheric, stylish, older horror movie that's just really fun to watch. It's only an hour long, so little time is wasted. It's super brisk. By the time it starts and you start to get into it, it's over. So it's not a movie that really makes much, demands on your time. The Vampire Bat is out on Blu-ray from the film Detective. It's got a new restoration from the original 35 millimeter film elements from the UCLA Film and Television Archive. It's also got a new featurette and an audio commentary track. So it's a solid disc. I will say though, it is a hold on a second. It is a Blu-ray, like a burnt Blu-ray. It's not a pressed Blu-ray, but that's the case with all the Film Detective discs. But I never had any issues with them. I've watched most of them multiple times and I never had any concerns. So don't let that scare you off. Just the fact that it's not like a pressed disc. Everything on it is top. Everything on this thing is top notch. The transfer is really nice. It's really clean and clear. You can definitely tell a lot of restoration went into it. At the same time, though, I mean, it's a 1933 movie, so, it does have a little bit of wear and tear, but I think it looks fantastic. Certainly way above and beyond, like, the public domain releases. That's about it. I really like the movie. If you like kind of old-timey horror movies, I would definitely check it out. And I think this is a great way to check it out because the transfer is really nice. It also has a scene late in the movie. At the theaters, back then, they would sometimes have a scene where the villagers were carrying these torches, and even though it's a black and white movie, there would be like these bursts of color in the fire, like, that would light up and kind of stand out. And this version has that, and it looks really cool. It definitely looks like it's authentic to the time, and it's a really like memorable moment in the movie. So, like I said, if you like old-timey horror movies, definitely check this one out. And this is definitely, I think, the best available way to check it out. If you like my review, check out my website, markfusion.com. You can read a full write-up on this, as well as tons of other classic horror movies, modern horror movies, in the middle horror movies, cult movies, all kinds of genre films. I'm also on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram at MarkFusion. You can also go to my Patreon at MarkFusion if you want to support me that way and get some exclusive content. But the best way you can help me out is just to hit that sub button here. It's free, easy, and it definitely helps me grow my, base here and also be able to provide more content. So thank you so much for watching these videos. I greatly appreciate it. And don't assume that if people go missing in your neighborhood that it's vampires. That's the moral here, So be careful on that. You don't want to go around accusing people of being a vampire. So that's just a little bit of wisdom to end this video. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll have another one up soon.